do right here is go back. Way back. Back into time.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Celebrating 20 years of New England Championship Wrestling. This is the ReGeneration Podcast.
And now, here are your hosts, Sheldon Goldberg, Joe Matarazzo, and Kevin Castro.
Welcome everyone to another edition of the NECW ReGeneration Podcast, celebrating 20 years of New England Championship Wrestling. I'm Sheldon Goldberg, joined by Joe Matarazzo.
What's going on, guys?
And Kevin Castro.
Gentlemen.
Also with us this week, our very special guest, a beloved figure in the history of New England Championship Wrestling, none other than the host of Pat's Pit, the inimitable Pat Piper. Pat, how are you?
I'm just a box of fluffy ducks. How you guys doing?
All right, we're happy to have you with us. We're going to discuss your life and times in this episode, and you have one of the more interesting wrestling careers of anyone that I know, because most people normally start local and go national. You did it the opposite way.
Yeah, I did it a little backwards.
Yeah, but let's talk about your beginning. Let's start there. How did you get your foot in the door, so to speak?
Okay, well, what happened was, remember at WrestleMania, I believe it was 9, where the Ultimate Warrior fought? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Vince didn't want him to wrestle anymore.
Right.
Remember that match?
Yep.
Well, of course, Warrior won. So Savage was pulled off, active being in the ring, and he started doing WWE Mania with Todd Pettengill on the USA Network. I believe it was Saturday mornings,
right,
or Sunday mornings, one or the other. But basically, Savage was Todd Pettengill's co-host. So when WrestleMania 10 came around, Macho Man was coming out of retirement to fight Crush. So Todd Pettengill set up this co-host contest. And each week, fans would be sending in tapes. And, I'm just watching them week after week after week, and I'm like, wow, some of these are really, really bad. Some of these are horrible. And I wasn't even gonna send in the tape, but then I was like, you know what the heck? I'll send it in. So I sent in a tape, and I was doing impersonations. I did Hulk Hogan, I did Macho Man Randy Savage, and then I did one of Piper. And I sent him my tape. Now, at this time that they were setting up for WrestleMania 10, there was a double main event with Yokozuna. He was going to be fighting Lex Luger and Bret Hart. And there were going to be two special guest referees, one for each match. And the match between Yokozuna and Lex Luger, the guest referee was Mr. Perfect. And the match with Yokozuna versus Bret Hart, the guest referee was Roddy Piper. So, when Piper came to the ring, Rowdy Piper, and then Jerry the King Lawler is on commentary, and he's like, oh, I hate this guy, and oh, I can't stand him, and he's no good, and he's this, that, and the other thing. He's bad-mouthing Roddy. So that set up for a match for the King of the Ring. Now, like I said, at this time, I had sent in my tape. And I don't know who saw it. I think it might have been Jerry the King Lawler. He probably saw it. Somebody probably, hey, check this out. And he was like, oh, wouldn't that be great if we had him in the King's Court? I had all my information on the videotape, and then I get this phone call. And they're like, hey, this is the World Wrestling Federation. We got to try out for the co-host. We're going to show a clip of it on the USA Network. Would you have a problem with that? And I was like, no, not at all. So they sent me over some paperwork. I signed it and sent it back. And then they were like, okay, you're going to be on this day. And I was waiting, and I was like, all right. And I didn't know which clip they were going to show. Were they going to show the Macho Man clip? Were they going to show the Hogan clip? Ended up they showed the Piper. And then about a week later, I get a phone call back. And they're like, well, did you see yourself on TV? And I was like, yes, thank you very much. I hope Roddy wasn't too mad. And they were like, well, maybe you can ask him in person. How would you like to go to the WWF King of the Ring? And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, sure. That's basically how that started.
Who called you?
Kevin Dunn.
And you did not know who Kevin Dunn was at that time, right?
No, I had no idea.
So what happens from there? You go to King of the Ring.
After Monday Night Raw, I really didn't tell you everything. You know, I get there, and I don't know what they want me to do. Are they going to bring me in as the world's biggest Roddy Piper fan? I don't know. Blackjack Lanzer and Tony Gurria grab me, and they sit me down, and they're like, all right, tonight, you're going to be Roddy Piper. And I'm kind of like, huh? They're like, yep, tonight, you are going to be Roddy Piper. And I'm like, okay, I guess so. So then they brought me in to meet, they bring me in to meet Lawler. And Lawler's looking at me, and he's like, well, yeah, you kind of resemble Roddy a little bit in the face, except for that haircut. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You do a lot of things dumb when you're young, but,
right.
So, yeah, I had a stupid haircut. And then he goes, all right, you know, if I said to you, where'd you get that haircut, at a pet store? He goes, what would your response be? And I was like, pet store. Yeah. I got a cut at a pet store. I'm doing a sequel to Hell Comes to Frogtown. It's going to be called Hell Comes to Dogtown, starring my family and a couple of my neighbors, if you can believe that. And he was like, yeah, that's good, all right. So we were just working out what we're going to say and everything. And,
right.
You know, everyone's kind of like looking at me like, who the hell is this kid?
Right.
And why'd you dress like Roddy? Like Razor Ramon looked at me, and he just kind of looked at me. He was like, whatever. I was like, oh, nice. Right before I'm about to walk through the curtain to do the King's Court, Jerry Lawler walks up to me and he's like, hey kid, how do you feel? I said, I think I'm going to be sick. He's like, oh, no, don't do that. You'll be all right. And I'm like, oh my God, because, you know, you're freaking out.
Right.
I had never done any like this. I've never performed in front of people. And I'm just like, I'm going to blow it. I know I'm going to blow it. So then who comes walking by? Vince McMahon and Macho Man Randy Savage. So Vince comes up to me and he's like, chest all puffed out, and he's like, go knock him dead, young man. And my big response was, thanks. Not, oh, Mr. McMahon, thank you so much for this opportunity. I won't let you down. I promise. Everything's going to be great. No, not me. Thanks.
Now, you still had no idea what they were really going to do with you at this point, right?
That's when they said, you know, hey, you're going to be Piper tonight. And
right.
then, you know, I'm a bundle of nerves. And I'm like, oh my God. But I was like, you idiot. First impressions are like the biggest thing in the world. Here I am next to Vince McMahon. Hey, thanks. I'm like, you are an idiot. I'm sitting there, I'm yelling at myself. People looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with this kid? So I got out there, I did the thing, and came back, and then, what do you call it? I walked back to the curtain. I guess men on the mission were like, kind of like, they said they were like fans of mine. And I was like, what, really? And they all stood up. They were watching the monitor. They stood up and applauded me. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then Jeff Jarrett went up to me, and because, you know, him and Lawler were good friends. And he's like,
right.
Hey, how was it working with that Jimmy King Lawler? You got that Roddy Piper down, boy. And then Razor Ramon comes up to me. He goes, hey, yo, man, that was pretty good, kid. And I was like, all right, enough with the Scarface routine, okay, Scott? God. But, yeah, that was that.
But Cornette came up to you, too, didn't he?
That was at the King of the Ring.
Oh, okay. I'll let you get to that part. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to go on with the King of the Ring now?
Yeah.
They flew me out to the Baltimore Arena, where the King of the Ring was held. Mm-hmm. You know, I get there, and I'm waiting on Roddy. And I'm, like, nervous as hell. I'm like, you know, because I was, you know, I knew a little bit about wrestling, but I don't know what I know now. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, man. is Roddy pissed? He's probably going to kick my ass or something. And so Shawn Michaels decides he's going to start playing around with me. And he walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, kid, Roddy's looking for you. He's pissed. See you later." And he runs off. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm dead. I'm like, he's going to kill me. I'm like, he is going to kill me. Finally, Roddy walks in, and I'm waiting in the corner, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Roddy. Who runs up to Roddy? Shawn Michaels. Puts his arm around Roddy, points to me. And that's when Roddy comes over to me and he goes, "There you are! Great impersonation of me." He goes, "What'd you do, some time in jail?" I was like, "Hi."
Welcome to losing your virginity in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah. A little nerve-wracking.
At what point did you know precisely what they were going to do with you?
Here's the thing. At first, they were going to introduce Lawler, and he was going to come to the ring, and then they were going to, introduce Roddy Piper, and they were going to basically have me come out pretending that I was Roddy again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'd probably be getting booed out of the building, but then I was supposed to grab the microphone, and I was supposed to say, "Jerry the King Lawler, I said some things I shouldn't have said. I did some things I shouldn't have done. But tonight, you got to pay the piper." And I was supposed to introduce Roddy. But, typical WWE, everything changed to the last second. And they're like,
of course.
No, Roddy's going to come out and then he'll wave you out here. And I was like, oh, all right, that works. But Roddy, seeing him on TV and then meeting him to face, person to person and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, this guy's going to be all hyper and everything. He was very chilled back. I was like, wow, kind of interesting. I don't know. I was expecting him to be crazy and cuckoo and running all over the place.
Right.
But no, he was pretty laid back. I was talking to him, and I was like, "Roddy, you got to do me one favor." He's like, "Sure, champ. What do you need?" I was like, at one point in the match, you got to give Lawler the eye poke. I go, "It's classic, Roddy. It's classic. You got to give him the eye poke." And then I go, "Because if you don't, I will." Roddy's looking at me. He's like, chewing on his bubblegum. He's like, okay. You want me to give him the eye poke? But if I can't, you want to give him the eye poke? Maybe that's an idea, kid. Maybe you should give him the eye poke. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I'm like, I'm not going to give him the eye poke unless you got him like a full Nelson or something. He heard that, and he incorporated that into the match.
Oh, jeez.
Calling his own spots.
Right.
Who's this kid think he is? What do you call it? And it was funny because they were actually practicing it. Pat Patterson came into the locker room, and Roddy put Pat Patterson in the full Nelson. So then they're both saying, "All right, go between our legs." So all right, I slide underneath between the two of them. I stand up. I look at Pat Patterson, and I put two of my fingers up and went, "Oh," like the Three Stooges. Him and Piper busted out laughing. I was like, all right. I was like, I guess this will work.
Well, you popped Pat Patterson.
Right.
I might as well bring this story up. Roddy's like, something, kid? He goes, I'm very, very confident tonight that I am going to beat Jerry the King Lawler. So after the match is over, I want to pick you up on my shoulder, and what you do is you wrap your legs around my waist so you don't go flying forward. I go, all right, I can do that. So he's practicing. He lifts me up, puts me on his shoulder, and all of a sudden you hear, my whole life just falls in front of me. I'm like in slow motion. I'm like, no.
So,
And as I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, I just farted on Roddy Piper.
oh.
And I'm like, all right. Erase that from your memory. Okay. Let's see. Think positive. Maybe it was near his bad hair. Hopefully he didn't feel it brushing on his shoulder. And I hope to God he didn't smell it. But he never said anything. I guarantee it. When I left the dressing room, he probably said, that kid just farted on me. Are you done laughing?
Pat, you told me, I've heard this story like 100 times, and it gets funnier every time you tell it. I'm sorry.
It gets funnier for you.
It does.
Yeah, I go down in history as the guy that farted on Piper. Nice.
Nobody else can probably say that.
Well, you know, Piper is a bagpipe player, so he's used to passing wind in one way or another.
Oh, and about the bagpipe players kept playing the whole afternoon. They just kept playing. And it was so funny because I'd never heard Roddy swear before. And Roddy's like, well, except for they live, but not in front of me. But he was like, he goes, hey man, you guys got to tell those bagpipers to shut up. He goes, they'll be playing those effing things all day. Another story. Roddy went to go cut a promo for Coliseum Video.
Right.
And it's funny because I never realized this until later on. You know, once I got into the independents, I wanted to have a cool name. You know, Roddy. He's Rowdy. I was like, all right, let's see. I don't want to be a wrestler, but I want to be a manager. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to have a cool nickname. And I was like, and like a stable, a group of guys. And I was like, all right, let's see. What about Pat the Rat Piper? And I could have the Rat Pack. And I was like, Rat, Pat, Brat. Pat the Brat Piper. Hey, I like that. That sounds good. And come to find out years later, which I totally forgot because, I did see the video. And in that video, he was cutting a promo for Coliseum Video. He basically said to, he's talking to Lawler, and he's like, and you can bring some skinny little brat and bring him into the ring. And I was like, oh my God, Roddy dubbed me the Rat.
Yes, he did.
Which was kind of cool. Yeah, I totally forgot about it, and I was just like, all right, that's that. Right. When Roddy was cutting that promo for Coliseum Video, I'm out talking to his friend. I don't remember his name. But, he was a big guy and everything. And me and him were just, talking. And I was like, so, I take it Roddy saw the videotape. And he's laughing. And I was like, okay, well, what did he say? And he goes, well, he watched the videotape, sat down, watched it, rewound it, watched it again, got out of his chair, and then he said, that little mother, I'm going to kill him.
Was that the one when you were in the King's Court?
Yes.
That he was.
And then he's like, that little mother effer, I'm going to kill him. And I'm like, okay. And then years later, I didn't know this at the time.
Right.
I didn't know Roddy hated it when people impersonated him. I heard, he, legit would get pissed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm lucky he didn't rip my head off.
Oh God. From here, does your relationship with WWF at the time? Does that end? Was that it?
Well, the next day in the hotel lobby, I'm getting ready to go back to Boston and everything. I see Kevin Dunn. He's like, "Oh, Pat, man, you got to see that footage with you and Roddy walking down to the ring together." He goes, "It was great. And we understand that you want to be a manager here in the WWE." But this was around the time that they were starting to read out the manager. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll give you a call next week. Still waiting for that call.
Well, you wouldn't be the first guy that's happened to.
I'm sure I won't be the last.
Right.
Right.
So you have your 15 minutes of fame, so to speak.
Yeah.
And now you come back, and how do you go from there to working independent wrestling?
Well, it's funny because I really didn't do anything probably for about 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm like, I'm flash in the pan. And then me and Joe had gone to a local wrestling show, and we walked up to the promoter, and Joe was a big BS'er. I'm telling the truth, but he walked up to the promoter. He's like, "Oh, I'm a Piper guy," and they were like, "All right, well, give him a shot." It was basically like a 3-day run. And who's the first person that they bring in? Jimmy Snuka. And I'm like, I get to work again.
Well, it's actually, we go back a little bit before that, because before you and I got hooked back up again, we hadn't talked, Pat and I hadn't talked in a while at that point. But you did a couple spots for Cody Boyne, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You did with Phil Apollo. Phil Apollo was playing Doink the Clown. So you got to do a couple little things there.
Have you ever met Cody?
Yes.
Nothing against the guy, but, kind of a little strange.
Aren't we all?
He called me up on the phone. He's like, "Hey, Pat, when's your birthday?" Huh?
That's right. I forgot this.
I think it's in March. Pisces. Okay. Pat, what year were you born? 68. You're the monkey. I'm like, what the hell is wrong? And then he's like, he goes, "I want you to go out and frost your hair, like Roddy did when he was doing his movies. Put some blonde streaks through your hair." Okay, all right, did that. And your name on the poster, your name's gonna be Rowdy Rodney Piper. And I ended up interviewing Oink, O-I-N-K, the clown.
That's right.
Now, he was doing a cable access show, or was he running shows?
He was just running shows, but, you put a poster up there saying, oh, they misspelled Roddy, and they misspelled Doink.
Right.
A bunch of people show up, and then,
That was an old trick.
Old promoter trick that goes way, way back.
Yep.
But,
many years ago, in the late 50s, early 60s, there was a promoter by the name of Jack Pfeffer. And Jack Pfeffer was famous for the funny names. Like, he would have a guy, instead of Lou Thez, he'd have Lou Kez. Instead of Bruno Sammartino, he had Bruno San Martino. He had a black guy that worked as Hobo Brazil.
That's great.
Did you say hobo?
Yeah,
Hobo.
I did. Hobo. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And oh, yeah, that's where all that came from.
Hobo.
Cody was a good guy. We did a lot of stuff with him. We ended up doing his access show with him a few times and stuff over the years. It was before we came in with you, Sheldon.
Right.
Yeah. Then what happened was I had been in touch with Mayhem Independent Wrestling, And just before that, I had run into Pat, and I had said to him, what are you doing? Ever since you did that, the King of the Ring, and I had done our thing, and, we should be doing this. This is what we should be doing. And so I got in touch with them and got us, basically got us booked to come down there. And they that's how it all started. We went from both being in front of, national televised audiences to the very next ring that we both got into at the same time was in the middle of a street at a block party with caution tape around the ring because they didn't have any aprons for it. It was a little surreal.
I'm sure it was quite a come down from.
I was humbling.
Right.
It definitely was.
Just to fill in the gap here, Joe, you had won a contest to be a guest ring announcer. Correct,
and this was the same exact time that Pat had won. As a matter of fact, I got my pick and my spot. Was it 3 months before you, Pat? A month or so before me.
And I'm watching on TV, and I was like, and they're like, special guest ring announcer Joe Matarazzo, and I was like, what?
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What about me?
Right. And Pat and I had lost contact right after high school. So there was a couple of year gap there. So it was just hilarious that all of a sudden he sees me. And then I find out from some guys at the gym that I was going to that Pat was doing the King's Court and all that. And I didn't even realize it. So, of course, now we run into each other. It was only a couple of years, maybe 2 years, 3 years later, tops. And I said, we got to do this. We were doing this when we were kids. Oh, yeah. Not knowing what we were doing, but we tried everything. And how we didn't die, I don't know. But yeah, this was our dream to get involved and to do it at the same time. Then we ended up moving through the ranks and eventually we wound up in NECW, which is we had one hell of a roller coaster ride to get there.
Tell us about that.
Oh, about the ride getting there?
Yeah.
Between the things, from when we left Mayhem, we ended up going over to before there was No Money Championship Wrestling. That was NMCW. That's what it was, New Millennium Championship Wrestling. We called it No Money Championship Wrestling. We didn't get any money out of this deal. Okay. We booked this whole show. We had a whole bunch of people ready to go, and everybody lost their shirts on it. It was just a bad experience. And then we ended up finding Mike Sparta, and this is what Pat was starting to say, is that I talked us into the building again. I got us talked in and because of Pat, and I started talking to Mike, and way before, when we were dealing with Mayhem, we knew we had Pat with us, and we wanted to bring Jimmy Snuka in then, and we never got to do it in Mayhem. Yeah. Well, Sparta had the connection to Jimmy right away and made the phone call, and that was his immediate gimmick, 3-night shot with Snuka and him, and I was basically just going to be the water boy. Mike more kept an eye on me because he didn't know what I was going to do or who I was going to try to approach or whatever. You know how guarded everybody is anyway in the business, especially just coming out of the 80s. So I just bought my time. I let Pat do his thing because I knew where Pat was, and I was there more for Pat, and eventually I'll find my way and figure out where I fit and let Pat do his three-day run. And Pat, go ahead, tell him what happened when you got to finally work with Jimmy.
Oh yeah, three-night run, and I've taken that leap off the top rope more times than I can count. Here I am, skinny little me and this big Jimmy Snuka. He's standing on the top rope. I'm lying on the mat like an idiot. Like, what am I doing? So Jimmy told me, hey, put your hands by your side, sit up, I'll come down, bang, it'll cushion the blow. I was like, all right. First night, not a problem. Second night, not a problem. Third night, we got a problem. All right. So I put my hands by my side, and as I'm sitting up and Jimmy's coming down, I turned, my elbow went into my ribs and he broke through my ribs.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, Pat wasn't wrestling. He was managing.
Right.
So he ended up, did they put you in a three-way, or was this just at the end just for the payoff to get rid of you?
It was Jimmy and Deuce against.
Oh yeah, his son. That's right, Jimmy Jr.
Me and the Garibaldi brothers.
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
do the little, wimpy tags. I tag in, couple quick punches, tag out, tag back in, couple kicks, tag back out, and then what do you call it? Then eventually they got a hold of me and picked me up and then slammed me in. But like I said, bang, he broke my ribs. I ended up going to the hospital. And they're like, "What were you doing?" I was like, "Jimmy Snuka broke my ribs, ain't it cool?"
Oh, no.
They're like, "Look at the size of you, stay out of the ring." I was like, "Okay, no."
Oops.
So Joe and Mike standing off to the side. I'm interviewing Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm doing basically the infamous snooker pit with when we get hit with the coconut.
Right.
So I'm sitting there, one coconut, dropping them out of the bag, two coconuts. Then I grab the bananas. And I'm just doing the Roddy stick. I wasn't thinking like this might come across as racist or anything like that. But I'm holding the bananas and I go, "I got you some bananas, Jimmy. I got you some bananas. Do you want a banana? Oh, you don't want a banana? I'm surprised you don't want a banana. Most monkeys do."
Uh-oh.
And
Oh yeah.
And I'm just doing the Piper stick.
Right.
And then Jimmy just looked at me like, "You better shut up, kid."
Uh-oh.
So Spada and Joe are outside, and Spada looks at Joe and goes, "Did Pat Piper just call Jimmy Snuka a monkey?" Ah, shit.
He's dead. Oh no, this is not going to end well for him.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
3-day shot that he
One
got.
thing you don't want to do is call a Tongan or a Samoan a monkey.
No, at all.
I know. I was just doing the Piper. I mean, yeah. You can't
Right.
But back in the 80s, it was fine. Everybody could do whatever. And
It was pretty funny. That
for you.
that 3-day run turned into what? Almost 8 years.
Yeah.
8, almost 9 years actually that we worked there. And you worked Jimmy 100 times. Jimmy loved Pat.
I'm teaming with 3-minute warning
Oh yeah.
against Jimmy Snuka, Edward G. Ecstasy, and Aaron Stevens, who later went on to become Damian Sandow.
Right.
But anyway, in the match, they tag me in. And I got Aaron Stevens in the corner, and I'm, punching him. So I was like, all right. So then I put him in a front face headlock. Jamal looks at me and goes, "Side headlock." So I was like, all right. So I put him in the side headlock, and now I'm looking at them. I'm like, now what? So then, I'm grinding up. All of a sudden, Aaron's hand goes around my waist, and he whispers to me, "Back suplex." I go, "Huh?" "Back suplex." I go, "I've never taken one." He goes, Don't worry. He picks me up. Aaron's a tall guy.
Right.
Yeah.
He lets his legs go out from underneath him. I go flying back. If I didn't tuck my chin, I probably would have broke my neck.
Yeah.
Because I landed right on the back of my head.
That was a hot
Bang.
bump. Yep.
Oh my God.
And now you'd never had any training at this point.
Never. I still haven't had any. But,
I have baptismal by fire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lying in the ring, and I'm like instant concussed. So then Aaron Stevens goes over and tags Edward G. Ecstasy, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Why are you tagging him?" So Edward G. Ecstasy comes over, and I'm trying to crawl out of the ring, and he grabs the top rope, and he's putting the boots to me, and a stiff guy. He's like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, "Hey, can you please lighten up?" Then he tags Aaron Stevens again. and they give me the Heart Foundation's signature, the heart attack.
Oh boy.
Aaron comes off the ropes, boom, clotheslines me, and ecstasy just whirls me into the mat. And I'm like, all right, pin me. They go over tag Snuka. I'm like, oh, come on! Snuka's on the ropes, and this is the worst thing about this. My mother was at ringside.
Yes, she was.
Oh boy.
First and last time I invited her to a wrestling match that I was a part of. Because she's at ringside. Patrick, get out of there!
I thought she was going to rush the ring.
So
then I go backstage, right? And I don't know where the hell I am. So then Joe walks up to me and goes, "Hey Pat, your mom's real upset." I was like, "Bring her here." And then, Mom, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm fine. Go downstairs. Joe, can you take her downstairs to meet Jimmy? So Joe took my mom downstairs. She met Jimmy. They took a nice picture together. And then I go walking into the dressing room. And there's Jimmy with the 3-minute warning. And he's like, "Hey, Pipey!" He used to always call me Pipey. He's like, "Hey, Pipey! Me and the brothers, we're gonna go and drink some rum tonight, brother. You wanna come hang out with us?" I was like, "Jimmy, I would love to. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna throw up." And that's exactly what happened. So then the next
boy.
The very next
So
night,
now-
I'm still concussed.
Right. Now I'm thinking that you're running NECW as like a vacation.
Exactly.
What do you call it? So the next night, where was that place, Joe?
We were in Randolph, I think. Oh, no, you're right. We went to Pepperell, all the way to Pepperell, yeah.
So we're at Pepperell. I'm supposed to do a Pat's Pit. And I'm like out of this. And I went to the bathroom, threw up, and Dangerous Danny Davis was like, "Oh, you better go to the doctor. Get that checked." So I'm backstage, and I'm just sitting in the chair. And then they decide to show the clip from the night before of me getting concussed.
In the locker room, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. So then Mike's like, "Aaron Stevens, come here. Watch his tape. See what he did? Look at Pat Piper. He's sitting there over there. He's effed up. Look at him. Watch it. Piper." And I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "Look at that. Huh? Where's he going? Nowhere." So Aaron felt bad. I think he started crying, didn't he?
He was pretty close to crying. Yeah, he never hurt anybody, and he felt terrible that you got hurt. And because he knows it was an accident, he didn't do anything on purpose. They weren't stiffing him or anything. It was just a bump that he had never really taken before. But I mean, that's the risk you take too when you get in the ring and we weren't trained. You know what I mean? At the time, you just jump in there, and who wouldn't want to try anyway? Get to work with the heroes for the first time. It's kind of how it worked,
Now, did at any point Sparta say, we got to go easy on this guy here?
No.
It was more entertaining to just watch. Yeah. Well, he did actually. He put you in there with Short Sleeve Samson, so he did help you out a little bit.
But that all happened by accident. Because Short Sleeve Samson used to always wrestle this other midget called Little Killer.
Yep.
And Spot is flipping out. He's like, where the hell's Little Killer? Where's Little Killer? So me and Short Sleeve, we're just chilling out. We're backstage. Me and him are friends. We're talking and everything. And then he walks up to Dan, Short Sleeve, and he goes, Little Killer's not here tonight. I don't have any opponent for you. And he looks at me. Piper, you versus Short Sleeve. So I look at Dan and I was like, "You down?" He's like, "Let's have some fun." I was like, "All right." So me and him had several matches.
You did.
Now, were they short matches or?
think they were.
They were.
Okay.
Very entertaining, too.
I'll bet.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you were a great crash test dummy fan.
You never put me over the little SOB.
No.
But, yeah, that's around the time that we started the Brat Pack. Because
you had a hell of a club with the Brat Pack.
Oh, my God. We had the Highlanders and Chris Candido. Who else was there? Kenny Dones. A couple of others, but, like...
All very notable people right there.
Yeah.
Right, right. But it's funny how me and the Highlanders kind of got together because I was supposed to manage this other team called, what was it, Death Row?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Was it them or the Ghetto Blasters or something like that? They were...
The name was either Death Row or the Ghetto Blasters, one or the other. Spotty's like, oh, yeah, you're going to manage these guys. So I meet, the Highlanders. Hey, I'm Rory. Hey, I'm Robbie. And I see them pulling kilts out of the bags. So I run over to Spot. I go, why are you putting me with these guys? Why don't you put me with these guys? Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to put you with these guys. I'm glad he thought of that. Okay.
This is just like having Mike on the show with us, actually.
I made you. Oh. And I was doing an impersonation of Mike one time.
Oh, man.
Al Snow's lacing up his boots. And, okay, we pulled a prank. Me and Joe pulled a prank on Kyle Storm. Kyle was on the phone with Joe, and he's talking crap about me. So then, Joe gets off the phone, he's like, oh, yeah, Kyle was, talking crap. And I was like, all right, I got a phone. Give me his number. I go, tell him that Spot is looking to drop the belt from Al Snow, because Al Snow can't do it, and he needs to put it on a local boy. So I call up Kyle, and I was like, Kyle White, Mike Spada. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing great, Mike. I'm doing great. Listen, I need somebody to take the title from Al Snow, and I want to put it on a local boy. Would you be available? Oh yeah, sure, Mike. Sure, I'd be available. I'd be proud. All right. So what's the gimmick? What's my gimmick? Kick-ass Kyle Storm. What? Kick-ass Kyle Storm. Wait a second, hold on. Patty! This is Kyle White! No. Forget it. The deal's off. I'm not doing it. Mark, what's wrong? Nah, I tried going to one of your shows and you and that fat kid who likes to dress up like women, you guys kicked me out? Like, I'm not doing it. You know what? I don't. Sit down, dog. All right, I'm not doing it. So as I'm hanging up, I'm like, hey, can you believe that? Click. 2 seconds later, Kyle calls Joe and he's like, I don't know what's going on with Mike. So then Joe's like, oh, I think I know what's wrong. And he goes, hold on. Joe hands the phone to me, and he goes, you shouldn't have been talking crap about Pat Piper yet. I'm not going to say the word.
Right. We got him good. So in the locker room...
the players, that's even funnier than it sounds on this podcast.
Oh, man. So Pat's telling this story to a bunch of the guys in the locker room, and we were in Connecticut. We had Al Snow there, and Al Snow's lacing up his boots. And as Pat's talking, Al just stops and looks up, like through his hair and everything. He's looking up, and he kind of looks, because he can't, spot on, right, Mike Sparta. Well, I'm sitting there as Pat's talking. I'm going, Pat. And he's like, hold on a second, I'm getting to that point. And I said, no, Pat. And I'm trying to tell him, Sparta is standing right there at the door, right next to you, right? And Pat looks up and sees Sparta, and
I turn around, and I'm like, and Spider looks at me and goes, "You mother!" I'm like, "Oh, great."
Of course, everybody in the locker room couldn't stop laughing.
Right.
That's the same night I forgot my kilt.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So
Yep.
I'm like, "No tail with no kilt." And Joe's like, "We're in Connecticut. I'm not turning around to get it now."
And then Pat, working with Sparta, we ended up meeting a lot of people there, like Sergeant Slaughter and Dr. Tom and those guys. And Slaughter took a liking to Pat, which was really cool. You know, they struck up a nice little friendship. And Pat actually ended up getting a call from Sarge out of the blue. Mm-hmm. Pat, go ahead and tell him that whole story. What almost happened with you?
Yeah. So I come home, and my wife at the time, she's now dead. She fell off a cliff. No, okay. She goes, "Oh, we got a message." And I was like, "Oh."
What's the matter with you? Go ahead.
The reason Joe's laughing is because he knows my ex. She's like, "Oh, you got a call." And I was like, "From who?" She goes, "Sergeant Slaughter." I was like, "Get the F out of here." "No, sir." And she's like, "No, call him back." So I call him back. And then, you know, he gets on the phone, and he's like, "Pat, we're looking for a manager for Fick Finley." I was like, "Okay." I go, that'd be perfect. He's from Ireland. I'm from Scotland, kind of. But they were like, "All right, we dropped your name. I put your name in the hat. And it's basically, we've been talking, it's down between you and the midget." I was like, oh, okay. He's like, "Yeah, what we're thinking about doing with the midget is dressing him up like a leprechaun." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Guess he didn't get the job.
Oh, boy. Well, look at it this way. Probably worked for half price.
It was Hornswoggle. It ended up being Hornswoggle. Right. So now Pat's got heat with Hornswoggle.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Little shit. Oh, sorry. But, yeah, so I didn't mind beating on short sleeves.
Right.
No revenge.
So you get to NECW. Now, this has got to be like a vacation.
Oh, yeah.
No bumps. No worries. Nobody screaming and yelling.
Just becoming an integral part of the show, helping get the angles over and so on and so forth. What were some of the most memorable things that you remember from your NECW run?
I remember the future superstar, Ryan Matthews.
Yes.
I remember having a little beef with him.
Right.
That was fun. I remember having a little beef with Gorman. You and Joe were just talking about this the other day. It's kind of a shame that me and Gorman never went toe to toe on the microphone, because that would have been pretty interesting.
This is true.
If we let those two loose, that would have been fun. That would have got some good. That would have been some good entertainment right there. Yeah, Handsome Johnny. You had a blast with Handsome Johnny. Ivar.
Yeah, that's because he got injured.
That's
like,
right.
Oh, I remember everyone was kind of like, "Oh, well, we want Johnny still on the card, but what are we going to do with him?" "Oh, stick on the pad." I was like, "Okay." "You got a problem with the pad?" "No, I don't care." "All right, well, come up with something, Dan." And, have some fun with it. And then we did the Your Mama Joe contest.
Right.
Right. Remember that? Yep.
There were some Your Mama jokes that I wanted to use. But, we were kind of like a family-friendly environment. And then, these were two adults. So I was just like, no one can say that, because I know that it would have got a huge pop from the adults, but They might have got pissed too, but it would have been fun.
Did you guys end up doing a pie eating contest too at one point?
I was just going to bring that up.
We did a pie eating contest, and the big thing with the armory was they had no doors on the toilets. Supposedly, I had laced Handsome Johnny's pies with X-Lax.
Right.
That's right. And then he's running, and the cameraman's following him. He goes into the bathroom. He's like, "These got no doors here!" And then there was the karaoke contest.
Ah, yes.
And,
nobody knew Pat could sing. Nobody realized that.
And then, like, I'm sitting in the ring, and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, is this going to go over? It was, what was it, that tag team tournament the whole night?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so, I mean, the fans they were into it, and then, eventually, it kind of started slowing down a little bit. And I was like, uh-oh, these fans are, dying over here, are they? And then I'm like, oh, they're going to crucify us in the ring when we're singing. And then I sang the song, and, I got a pretty good reaction. I just remember going to the backstage. I forget who comes up to me and says this, but they're like, look at that. Leave it to Pat the Brat Piper singing the Backstreet Boys to get the biggest pop of the night. I was like, wasn't my intention.
Well, we're going to take a little break here from this. We'll get back to more Pat the Brat Piper stuff in just a little bit. We have a bonus match this week. We're going to take you back to April 18th, 2007. We're going to take a look at the natural Scott Osborne versus a former NECW heavyweight champion in Revolution Chris Venom. We're going to take a look at that match, and we're going to talk about it on the other side. Let's have a look at that right now.
Osborne certainly in tremendous shape. Osborne last Saturday night named as one of the competitors in the 5th annual Iron 8 Championship Tournament taking place Saturday night, May 31st in Quincy, Massachusetts. Osborne has made a slow but steady climb up the ranks here in New England Championship Wrestling. Mixed reaction here to Osborne as some of the fans here obviously appreciate the conditioning.
In case you don't know who I am Brian Cairo.
Oh boy.
And I am smarter than each and every one of you here tonight.
He's talking to middle school students.
Now my parents, they did not make the mistake of sending me to this disgusting school.
Gotta win friends and influence people.
I am a well-educated man. I come from a school of winners. I come from a school of champions. Much like the school that's better than you, Gilmore Academy.
Oh man, that's like waving a Yankees pennant at a Red Sox game.
And tonight I'm going to prove why I'm smarter than all of you. Because in just a few minutes, Scott Heavyweights Max Bauer.
Well, we already know he blew that one.
So you do your job. Music Wench picks some music and introduces his opponent.
Well, the never popular Brian Cairo strikes again as we get set for the entrance of a former NECW heavyweight champion, a former NECW tag team champion, and the winner of the first Iron 8 championship. Revolution Chris Venom returning to the ring this week on NECW TV. Revolution Chris Venom making his way back to NECW action. Revolution Chris Venom has quite a resume, and what a test for Scott Osborne. Tremendous crowd here on hand at South Middle School in Brockton, Massachusetts. Venom already warning Brian Cairo about sticking his nose in this match, which, considering Brian Cairo, is almost a certainty. Osborne ducks out as Venom stalks him. Osborne in the stable of Brian Cairo, spending a lot of time with a veteran like Big Rick Fuller. Bound to be doing Osborne a lot of good. You can see he's got the great conditioning. There's a collar and elbow tie-up. Venom getting the better of Osborne. And Osborne ducks out. Give Venom the experience advantage over young Scott Osborne. Of course, the equalizer in that equation is the antics of Brian Cairo. Osborne with a knee to the midsection, backs up Venom, clubbing blow to the back of the neck, and a shot to the kidneys by Osborne. Osborne now with a blatant choke, trying to slow Venom down. Forearm rocks the jaw of Chris Venom. Osborne clubbing away. The ropes, Venom ducks. Levels Osborne, and again. Off the ropes, Venom has him up. Big back body drop. Nice drop kick sends Osborne to the canvas. And another. Osborne reverses the Irish whip. Cairo grabs the leg of Venom, and Osborne attacks from behind. A classic from the playbook of Brian Cairo. Again, Venom into the ropes, ducks the clothesline on the outside. Cairo doesn't see him. He sure does now. And here comes Osborne. Osborne with a baseball slide nailed Revolution Chris Venom with both feet. Now they're in the guardrail on the outside. Venom back in the ring. Osborne follows. Cover right here. And only two. knee driven square to the back of Revolution Chris Venom. And another. Off the ropes goes Osborne. Osborne drops the knee right into the shoulder of Chris Venom. Covered by Osborne. And only 2. Venom fires away. Big chop backs up Osborne. Off the ropes reversed. Venom runs right into a back elbow, right square in the kisser. Osborne trying to do some damage here. Referee Rob Tuttle right on top of the situation. Venom being whipped into the ropes. And once again, Osborne nails the former NECW heavyweight champion. Osborne with a reverse chin lock here. Trying to wear Venom down. Venom trying to come around. Venom summoning up the energy right here. Elbow to the midsection, and another. And Osborne with a handful of hair drops Venom. Osborne again with Venom choking him in the ropes with that knee. Osborne off the ropes. Misses. And Osborne crotched right in the middle of the ropes. Venom getting an opportunity here. Atomic drop. Osborne tries to come back, and another. Off the ropes goes Osborne. Venom right here. Tries to drop him with a bulldog. Didn't quite get all of it. Venom in the corner. Gets up ahead of steam. Drops an elbow. Right to the heart of Osborne. And a cover. And only 2. Oh, nice jawbreaker by Osborne. Quick thinking on the part of Scott Osborne. Osborne backs Venom into the corner. Venom reverses the Irish whip. Big power slam by Venom. Cover right here. This could be it, but only 2. Chris Venom measuring Osborne, has him upstairs, drops him, cover, and only 2. Osborne got out of 2.5. Osborne in trouble here. Venom grabs him by the hair. Set to bring him in the hard way. Oh, Cairo got the legs. Cairo holding the legs. And Osborne gets the pinfall. Scott Osborne gets an impressive victory over a former NECW heavyweight champion thanks to an assist by that man, Brian Cairo. Osborne heading into the 5th annual Iron 8 Championship. May 31st at the National Guard Armory in Quincy, Massachusetts. We've got more NECW TV coming your way right after this.
All right. Revolution Chris Venom, former NECW heavyweight champion, not the greatest NECW heavyweight champion in company history, but he was a serviceable guy. You know, not a bad worker. And Scott Osborne, who went on to become the Natural Scott Osborne, and one half of the tag team Real Natural with Brandon Locke. And Joe, what you think about this? You were around for this.
Yeah, it's funny. I forgot all about Chris Venom, and just that was just a great match. What I liked about it, what upset me was, man, do I miss live crowds? That because over at South Middle School, it was so hot over there anyway. That crowd, they were on fire. They had a nice pace going with the match. Nothing was rushed. Everything meant something. They were doing a good job. There was the one little bulldog spot that kind of get a little bit meh, but other than that, there was good heat. The baseball slide, when just before Osborne hit Venom with the baseball slide, he went out first. The timing and the way that he reacted when Venom slid out behind Cairo, he took his time and built that up, and you were able to get that reaction from the crowd. He didn't rush it. He let it come to him, and as Cairo turned around, the everything was timed right, and then Osborne hit him with the baseball slide. That one little sequence, just how he let it resonate, everybody got it, and that one moment stood out to me because that was perfect psychology, perfect timing right there. The way that to have Cairo interfere with the suplex, classic move, holding the foot down for the finish so that Scott goes over. And man, what a worker Scott was. I loved watching him work. He was just really, he made it look very easy, some of the stuff that he did.
Very underrated.
Very. And I'll tell you what, he was great with Brandon in the tag team. I wish that tag team was able to stay together. I think that was a nice setup with those two. But Kevin, overall, great match.
Kevin, were you familiar with both of these guys?
I knew Chris Venom much better than Scott Osborne. I think I might have met him maybe once, maybe twice in passing. Chris Venom looks much better now than he did back then.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, he looks great. Like Joe was saying, I really liked the psychology of the match. It was an old school story that they were telling. My favorite spot of the match, as Joe was saying, was when Venom did go after Cairo, because it was using the manager properly, which a lot of people don't do. It allowed Cairo to get his heat. He gets away with it. Venom remembers, goes to give him a receipt, and before he can hit him and take away all of his heat, he's cut off. So I thought that was great. The bulldog spot too. I like the fact that it didn't go over well, but it didn't go over well. So a lot of other times people will go back to it, and that's when
and they didn't.
Biggest pet peeve. Yes, they realized that it wasn't there. So okay, we got much more of a match to go. So keep going. Yeah, and the crowd, they had the crowd in their hands throughout the whole thing, all of them. When Cairo came out there and did the cheap heat promo at the beginning, riled them up. Just enough interference to keep the story going without taking the attention off of the guys and putting it all onto him. It was good. I thoroughly entertained.
Pat, this was before you came on board with us, correct?
Yes.
I
don't know much about Chris Venom, but I was always a Scott Osborne fan.
Yeah, there's a kid that got out of the business before he really gained any momentum. He was a good, solid talent. Who I remember him coming in with us as a job guy and just earning our respect and earning a spot on the cards.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a kid that had he been committed to wrestling and stayed with it, might have done something, might have gone further than what he did. But I think in his case, it was just family issues. I think he wanted to.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, and you can't argue with somebody's choice about that. That's a lifestyle decision. But when he was in, he was on. He was all the way there. Great talent.
A good build.
Always in great shape. As a kid that never slacked off gym wise. He was really a really, really good talent. And there's a lot of guys like that. We're going to be seeing more people that have wrestled for us over the years that are pretty much underrated local talents. You've seen the folks that went on to have big careers. But there's another level of guys who were really solid workers. They were solid wrestlers who could give you a good match and really help a card along, getting to that main event. I think Osborne's the perfect example of a guy like that.
Yeah. I always had my eye on Osborne, because, when Cairo left,
right,
I was like, okay, maybe now I'll get a shot at managing. And, I was like, oh, man, if I could have a Brat tag in NECW, who would I choose? And, Osborne was definitely one of them. And Brandon Locke. And then they went on to become Real Natural. And, I thought that was a great tag team.
Yeah, I regret not having you as a manager in NECW. But, there's a thing about having too many managers on cards. There was one thing that we were afraid of, is having too many managers. We had Tony Ulysses managing the Crown Jewels. Cairo was gone by this point.
Yeah. The Rock God.
Yeah, right. He came in later. Too many managers is
Gorman.
lays the card down. Right.
Right.
Gorman was one of those guys that felt that he should be the only manager on the card. He didn't mind Tony Ulysses because Ulysses was a specialty deal. It was a gimmick act. He felt, too, that too many managers muddles the company up. And I think to a large extent he was right. But I think that, had there been an opportunity to have you work as a manager, I think it might have been interesting. Actually, I'm sure it would have been interesting.
Now, would you have had me as a heel or a baby?
Usually managers are heels.
Well, I know that, but, like when Captain Lou Albano turned babyface, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, nah. Because he was such a bad guy for all those years, and then all of a sudden he's managing the Bulldogs, and I was like,
Now, of course, I grew up in the days of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and we always the idea of a babyface manager was Arnold Skoland.
Right.
Managing Bruno Sammartino, but you rarely saw Arnold Skoland at ringside.
No.
He never interfered in matches or did anything like that. Sometimes he'd be outside during the match, but that was a rarity.
There's very little to do as a babyface manager.
Right.
I remember, I was like, oh, man, I could have some fun. But,
it works in the context of an angle. If you're having a program with someone and the babyface manager becomes part of the angle versus the heel manager. But it's hard to do. It's not so simple.
Right.
It's got to be the right setup.
I just remember when I was coming into NECW, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna bring you in as a babyface." I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot. Can't make any guarantees. Where are we gonna be? Basically, where's gonna be like basic place where we always keep coming back to?" They're like, "Oh, the Quincy Armory." I'm like, "Oh my god," because I had worked in the WWA with Sparta,
right?
And they hated me. They absolutely hated me. And I go, "You want me to go to the Quincy Armory to be a babyface when a year or so ago I was talking crap about them?" I was like, because I know people are gonna show up and they're gonna know who I am. And I'm supposed to be on the good ship lollipop. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I can't get on it.
Well, you did a great job.
Basically, like, Pat and I remember him coming to me saying, "How the hell am I going to pull this off?" He goes, "I've been a heel for so long." He goes, "How am I going to all of a sudden become a babyface?" He goes, and they're going to start in on me. He goes, "And what's going to happen?" So I said to him, I said, "Pat," he goes, "It didn't work for Roddy. The first time around, it didn't work for Roddy. He was kissing up to the fans, and it just looked so fake and phony." I said, "Remember what he did when he went to WCW? He was Roddy. It's just who was in his line of fire. Be the same exact way. You're just going to go after the heels and go after them the same way you go after the baby faces." And that's when it clicked. And that's when Pat's like, "Oh, I don't have to change. I just change who I'm going after. And the fans will follow you because they're going to want to follow you like that." And it worked. That's how he was able to pull it off.
But I didn't want it to look fake or forced. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing, too, is that we were doing the online TV and so forth, so we had a vehicle to get you over to people the way we wanted you to get over, which is something that other companies didn't have and weren't doing. Right. So this was our chance to use you the way you would use a person in that position, which is to get angles and programs over. So you became more or less the elevator. You were the guy that got things over. You lifted things up, and on the opposite side, you would let things down when it was time to let them down.
Right.
So that was very important to NECW.
Yeah, but after a while, I don't know, I thought the pit was kind of going stale. Because, I'd be sitting there talking and everything, and then I'll say, okay, the good guy comes out. If I'm interviewing the bad guy, or if I'm interviewing the bad guy, the good guy would come out. And I was like, oh, people know that, somebody's going to come out and everything. It just became monotonous after a while.
Well, anything like that happens. Like anybody in any territory back in the day. There was such a thing as being around for too long. Sometimes you have to cycle somebody out to bring them back in again and make them fresh.
Make them fresh.
But that's why I didn't mind doing the little things with Handsome Johnny, or being involved in the Nangle. That time I lifted up my kill to 3 feet Dillinger. So I lifted
poor Sheldon. You flipped the kilt up, and we were doing commentary that night, and you were like, oh no, and I held out my eyes, it burns, and Sheldon, you couldn't hold it back. It was one of the funniest things that just come out of my mouth, and you couldn't stop laughing. That was hilarious.
It was a fun time.
One of the best times we had together, I think, Pat and I, working for any company, and we've always been loyal wherever we were until it was time to go. And we became free agents again, and as of right now, we're still with NECW. So this is what's so good. We get on the other side of this pandemic, and there's more to come.
Absolutely. So the last time we had a show, which was in Randolph about a year or so ago, some footage was shot for an A&E special that's coming up on Roddy Piper, and you were the subject of that.
Yes, and well. What happened was, Facebook friending everybody and stuff. I sent one out to Ariel Tunes, a couple of years.
Roddy's daughter.
Before I even knew about this documentary. And, our friend requested her. She never got back to me. I was like, all right, not a big deal. Then out of nowhere, she just picked me up. Hey, they're doing a documentary on my father. Do you want to be a part of it? I was like, yeah. I got in contact with the director and everything, and then, he's like, all right, well, we'll set up the stage for the interview. And I was like, okay. Well, I was like, that's kind of close to the NECW show that we have. And he's like, whoa, wait a second. He goes, you're still working? I was like, yeah. He goes, all right, scrap the interview. We're going to do it live at the show. And I was like, okay. And I ran it by you guys, and you guys were like, yeah, cool. Whether I'm going to be part of this documentary or not, I mean, I know they shot an interview with me, and they shot me managing, and they also videotaped me changing. And I'm like, oh, you got to film this?
R rating coming up.
And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be in the video. I don't know if I'm going to make the cutting room floor. I guarantee it, though, they'll probably show the part where I'm walking to the ring. I get into the ring. I hadn't been in the ring in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? I tripped.
Yeah, you did.
I tripped in the ring. And then I get up and, I'm playing it off like, all right, who did that? And then I'm looking around. I'm like, where's the commentating table? Because I know Joe's sitting there laughing his ass off.
I did talk about it.
And and I'm like, oh, he's going to say some smart-ass stuff about me. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait. And all I see is Joe's big smile. And I'm like, oh, what is he saying?
So this is going to air somewhere around the week of April 18th, am I correct?
It's going to start the 18th, and I believe the first one's going to be. They're doing a bunch of documentaries.
Right.
I believe the first one's going to be Stone Cold. They're going to do one of Bret Hart. They're going to do one of Macho Man Randy Savage, and they're going to do one of Piper and a couple of others. But yeah, it's right around April 18th on A&E.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Right. Well, we're going to check into that and let people know that that's going to be happening. And when we confirm what the date of the airing is, we'll be sure to plug it on our social media.
Appreciate that.
All right. Well, Pat, it's been great to have you with us. We'll have to have you back and share some more stories of your life and times, and look forward to having you join us again.
Well, I appreciate the time, gentlemen. You guys have a great night.
That's going to do it for us for this week. For Kevin Castro and Joe Matarazzo, Sheldon Goldberg, thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you next week.
The ReGeneration podcast is a production of New England Championship Wrestling. To send us questions, comments, or feedback, email us at regenerationnecw@gmail.com.